Okay, so today I wanted to talk to you, Michael, about the world of social media and the world of spirituality and how they coexist. Can they actually coexist? Because we are living in a modern time. This is our channel, Practical Spirituality. And how exactly do we bridge these two worlds? Do we even want to bridge the two worlds? Like, can you be a spiritual person and also be on social media? We're on social media, we're on YouTube,
Right.
like we're up there on Facebook. Is it even possible? Now, you had like a nice question, so I want you to kind of like, you know, you you
Yeah,
know, you
because
take it.
I hear where you're coming from on that in the sense of, time on social media, time on your screen, I think, you put it really well a while ago, and it's something that I propose to a lot of my clients when we're talking about different outlets, excuse me, about the difference between things that are relaxing versus the things that are numbing, right? And I find that people will often gravitate towards things like social media, specifically since it's so accessible as a way to turn off the brain, right? And I think that that definitely pulls you away from the present moment of being mindful to your surroundings. But the question I was proposing to you before we started recording, Shahar, is what is that bridge? Like, what are your thoughts about, let's say, like the mindfulness influencers or those that like post the inspirational quotes, right? Those that try to advertise spirituality on the social media platforms.
Yeah, which which is what we do, which is very funny. That's what we're doing. To be fair, right? To be
Yep.
fair, that's where we are. And that's why I really wanted to kind of to raise this point, which I think is a very important point. Because what is social media designed to do? Like I always like to start from the beginning. So let's define our terms. Social media versus spirituality. Spirituality, in its essence, tries to make you more conscious. Like you said, it's that what gives you energy, or sorry, not you didn't say what gives you energy. You said what give makes you more aware, and my way makes you more numb. So spirituality makes you more conscious. That's what it's designed for. That's why we do our meditation, to be more conscious of what's going in the body and be more aware of what's in reality. Like it's about removing the filters of our own
Mhm.
ego, etc. And social media does the exact opposite. It's designed to specifically uh, make you less conscious of the world around you and make you more and more into a self-built world where you just see the same reels again and again. And those reels, Michael, are driving me crazy. I like to think of it, like those. In the old movies when you brainwash a character, they put like a machine with little eyes like this.
Oh, Clockwork
Like,
Orange, classic movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, right. And
Hmm.
they see like one nonsensical video after another. It makes no sense. And sometimes I find myself on Facebook because I work on Facebook, and I find myself getting distracted by like a cat fighting a Chinese guy in a kung fu movie. And I'm like, and then I like think to myself, they got me. They got me because I keep seeing the same nonsensical video after nonsensical video. And without even noticing, you're there for like 10, 15 minutes just watching
Hmm.
nonsense. And
Hmm.
it's like that clock, how do you call it?
Clockwork
Clockwork,
Orange. Yeah.
clockwork.
Hmm.
It's the same thing. It's the same
Hmm.
thing. Like I feel like it's kind of a brainwash, but I put myself in it. Nobody had to peer my eyes open. That's the genius
Hmm.
part. It's
Hmm.
set
Hmm.
up in a way that you're creating this sort of a chamber that is just for you, right? People call it echo chamber. It's just you
Yep.
and your own voice.
Yep.
And that's social media. It makes you less conscious.
Hmm.
And I think when I talk to people, for example, who have a lot of issues with like, I think I had a student not that long ago who said, like, what do you do when there's so much trouble in the world and there's so much violence? And what I say to her is turn off your phone.
Hmm.
Just stop being on social media. Because guess what? Yeah, things are difficult, but things were difficult in World War II. Things were difficult in World War One. Things were difficult in the Black Plague. Things were difficult for people. when Genghis Khan came and tried to take over the, like, if you're one of those village, if you're not with Genghis Khan, you're in a bad place. Things were
Hmm.
difficult.
Hmm.
Not to minimize the stress,
Right.
but if you want to get out of it, stop being on your phone.
Stop
Like it,
being too informed, if you will.
you can get the same information once a month, and you'll know everything that a person who sits there every day, do the chat GPT and look everything and check and cross-reference. You'll get the same amount of information if you did that once a month than if you did every single day.
Hmm.
It's really not necessary. What it is, it's a need for control.
Mm.
That's what it is. It's in sense the social media makes you that, gives you a feeling like there's lack of control. Media in general does that. And then it offers you a solution to that lack of control. It makes you, if you just watch this, if you just see this, if you just let us tell you, like the news, right? If we're going to tell you how messed up the world, we'll make sense out of it. So you feel like you have control over something, but the world is enormous.
Hmm.
So you don't, it doesn't actually give you any kind of control. It just gives you a fake sense of control. It's like drinking soda when you feel thirsty. You have the
Yeah.
sensation of drinking,
Hmm.
so it
But it
feels
doesn't
like you're
actually
drinking.
quench your thirst. Yeah. Hmm.
Right, or or in the past when they used to drink alcohol to warm the body. It
Hmm.
doesn't warm the body. It gives you, it actually hurts your ability to warm your body. So it's the same thing.
Hmm.
It gives you a
Hmm.
sense of control,
Hmm.
but it's the opposite. So that's kind of a long tangent of what social media is. Social media is specifically designed to make you less conscious, and spirituality is designed to make you more conscious. So okay, so I talk plenty. So let me throw it to you. So what do we do, Michael? What do we do? Like I'm in a state, like let's say I'm like a student, I'm a client of yours, a patient of yours, and I say, Michael, I want to be a spiritual person. And Shahar told me, stop being on my phone. But like you said, I need to be informed. I feel like I need to have a sense of control of this. I got to make sense of everything. So I have to be on social media, but it's so addictive. So how do we bridge those gaps?
Well, first you like and subscribe to our channel. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Kinda, kinda.
Yeah, but I think that's totally valid. Somebody that wants to be spiritual, practice more spirituality, but they have to be on their phone, right? And I think it starts with small micro adjustments, right? So if I were proposing this to a client, I would ask them first what they would want to do instead. What's their idea of spirituality? What does a life look like without their phone, right? And really starting small, on the small scale, right? So if I'm on my phone 10 times out of the day, right? Let's say I try to practice being on it 8 times out of the day, and the remaining two I do something else, right? Maybe that's stand in the backyard, or do a little bit of breathing, go for a walk, something that can really kind of bring it back down present, right? Because I think especially with a society that's so addicted to the phone, with it so accessible, with all the information there, with everything at the the tips of your fingers, if you will, right? It's really hard to, or really unrealistic to think that it's just going to be a light switch and I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm just not going to have my phone anymore, right? Like, so for example,
Right.
other than what we do and some advertising on either through the clinical practice I'm at or the workshops that you and I do, I don't use social media at all. I don't use Instagram. I don't use Facebook. I will be guilty on Reddit every once in a while. I love those
Now,
conspiracy
I'm gonna
pages.
call you out because I know what's your vice. Your vice is that Snapchat filter. That one, you sit on that thing like like a crazy person.
And the
That's
funny
your
thing is
vice.
I never actually send them to anybody. I love just
Right.
like messing with the filters and it's just it's fun to see what they can do these days. But
For
yes,
those who
no, I
don't
hear you.
know, Michael has on his phone a picture of me as an old person, and it's probably the creepiest thing I've ever seen because it feels so accurate. It's very spooky.
That was the filter, seeing what you and I would look like.
You're
Should I
pulling
should I
that up right now? You're
Of
gonna show?
course I'm pulling it up
Okay,
to
good.
show
Then
the
like
to show the
show
world.
everybody. They need to know. This is old Shahar. I gotta say, my hair looks really nice as old
It
Shahar. I
does.
look like
It does look
a
nice.
wise old man.
Hmm.
Okay,
But yeah.
but okay, so that brings me to the question. Okay, but is it even possible? Can you okay, so you don't have to go on Facebook and Instagram, but the phone in general, it sneaks up on you. It really does.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's just like, oh, I'm gonna check the news. Oh, there's a little thing, and it kind of bounces you
Well,
back and forth.
it all comes back down to habit forming things, right? You know, it's like you're used to that dopamine hit, you're used to that that mechanism, you're used to that reflex, right? It's like when people talk about quitting smoking, sometimes it's not even necessarily about the nicotine, it's more about just the
Right,
ritual, right? The ritual of, putting something in your mouth and inhaling it, right? Or something along those lines. Same basic idea. Your body has learned that this is an accessible escape, right?
right.
And because of, you know, checking the
Honestly,
time or text
honestly,
messaging.
on the smoking, a bit of a kind of a sidetrack. We'll go back, I promise. But the sidetrack, I have a theory about the smoking that I feel, like you said, the act of slowing down and breathing, like actually literally going out, smoking and breathing, even if it's nicotine, it's obviously not healthy for your lungs, but just that act of like standing up and going out and just breathing for a few moments and slowing down your breath, because that's what it does. The smoking kind of slows down the breathing. I feel that's what people are addicted to. And it's a hard
Mhm.
switch because we don't really do that. We don't like suddenly like, Michael, I'm just gonna step outside and breathe. Wouldn't that
I
be
need a
cool?
breathe break. Breathe them
Yeah,
if you
wouldn't
got
that
them.
be cool? It would be a culture and society that did that. Like, I'm just gonna like step outside, breathe outside, come back into the restaurant or the meeting. Wouldn't that be kind of
Right.
neat?
Yeah, yeah, that would
We
be
have to
neat.
do it with some nicotine or weed or something. Like we have to use something. Like, it's pretty funny. Okay, so
Hmm.
back out of the tangent. So now the difference I feel from like smoking, and I think it's also with using drugs, is because in our society, even smoking, not everybody smokes.
Right.
Like it's much more difficult to quit smoking if everybody around you is smoking all the time. And I can count the amount of times I was with my family and I see my mom, my dad, my brothers all like this,
Hmm.
like this. And it's like I'm looking at them and like this is very wild. This is a wild moment. And I'll admit I'll be part of it too. So is it even possible to live in a world where everybody's doing it? Social media is everywhere. That's where we get our news. Yesterday, there was a launch, right? The Artemis 2 launch. We saw it on live, me and Kayla on our phone, and also sat outside to see the actual launch, which was super awesome, by the way.
Hmm.
So, how can you like Amish this and just not be like, just not have a phone, have a minimalist phone, like the old Nokia? Is that even possible, Michael? Can we do this? This is real.
I mean, I'm a proponent of everything is possible or anything is possible, right? But I think it comes down to
You're
what you
you're an optimist.
specifically want. I
Somehow
am an
with you, you're
optimist.
the optimist. I always thought I'm an optimist until I saw you. And suddenly I feel like the most pessimistic human being in the planet when you're around. Okay, so please, yes, sorry.
Yeah, no, I think, well, again, I think that anything is possible if you want it to be possible, right? I actually had a friend that found an old Nokia flip phone and switched back to that, just so that they could get away from the accessibility of internet and apps and things along those lines. And so it's definitely possible to do so, but it comes down to what's the pace and where are you trying to go, right? It's just like standard therapy stuff, right? Where are you trying to go? How do we get there, right? So if you're the person that wants to dive completely into spirituality, have no connection to the phone. There's people that do that. There's people that go live off grid, right? There's people that, are able to switch back to a Nokia phone. Or do you want to, what I like to call, redefine your relationship, right? So, what do you want your relationship with your phone, social media, things like that to look like? Is it something where, again, like you had mentioned before, you check it out once a month and, you leave it there for, you kind of stay off the apps,
Right.
after that? Is it a device that you just want to use for texting or calling, right? Or is it a device that you're okay using maybe an hour a day instead of, using the other 23 for something else, right? I think it comes down to what you specifically are looking for. And then once you can kind of define what you want your relationship between social media and spirituality to look like, then you can start putting in the pillars of measurement to actually get you to that point.
Okay, so I like what you said there, right there towards the end. Everything else was terrible.
Yeah.
No, no, I loved everything. I'm kidding, but so that point in the end, uh, how do I want to bridge the gap? Which is really what we're talking about here, because in the end, we're practical spirituality, so we need to have like some tangible way of doing this, and that's kind of what you're presenting. It's about having clarity of what are my goals, like what do I want. So let's talk about this. What is that bridge? Because we're living in a modern world. So for me, for example, I use social media mainly for work, and I get
Hmm.
distracted. I get distracted through that. So if it's posting social media or doing what we're doing now, to me, that acts as an outlet for my brain, right? I have a thought in my head, like, for example, how do we manage social media and spirituality? There's Michael. How about we talk about just put it out there? Like
Hmm.
I don't care if people see this or not see this. It's really about getting the thoughts out there. So to me, it's a practice of spirituality for me because my work is an aspect of spirituality because spirituality is also growth. It's about increasing consciousness and growing as a human being at the same time. It's not just about being aware, right? It's not just about the mind and which Bodhidharma said to the Shaolin monks back in the day when he taught them Qigong. They used to just meditate and sit all the time. And they thought the body is something you're supposed to neglect behind. Like it's okay. If you're sore and sick, that's fine as long as you have a strong meditation. Bodhidharma said, no, you need a healthy body. So he taught them Qigong, stretching. He brought it from the world of yoga. And the concept of physical motion and mental healing kind of came to be. So, which was also in yoga anyway. So, so the reason I brought it up is it's not enough to just think and have a higher and like expanding your consciousness. You actually have to do it through personal growth through your body, like going to work and doing work that actually develops you. And sometimes people do work that is specifically to social media, like what we do, and and it's hard. Like you have to actually bridge it. So to me, the bridge, this is my bridge, is an outlet. So I see it as my personal growth as well as increasing my consciousness, as well as being aware of when I get, let's go,
Distracted,
diverted. Diverted.
diverted,
It really
diverted.
feels like
Okay.
a diversion. Like I see this video as the cat fighting the kung fu guy, and it's
Yep.
funny. And I like cat videos. I know they're very rare, and and
When you can find them.
and I keep getting sucked into it. And I remember sometimes Kayla, she says like, "What are you doing?" And I'm looking at her and I say, "Honestly, nothing. This is nothing. What I did in the last 10 minutes was legit nothing. Just
Hmm.
watching one silly video after the next." And I feel bad, like, and they got me. They got me. Michael, they
Hmm.
got
Hmm.
me. I got
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
pretty pictures got me.
Yep.
So so I think one of the practical advice I would say, like, one, don't treat it too seriously when you do. Like it
Right.
doesn't have to be like a moment of like, oh, whoa, oh, it's me. I got caught in the
Hmm.
social
Hmm.
media. I gotta
Hmm.
throw my phone. So the all or nothing is kind of a tricky one. Like I just throw the phone, don't be part of it. And those I don't feel tend to work. Some people can make it work. Some people, like you said, your friend just grabbed the Nokia and make it work. I feel like he has something to say there. So
Oh yeah, well, I just had some things to throw in from the therapeutic space because I
yeah,
align
please.
with exactly what you're talking about, and I teach my clients that as well. Is if you start at the end and work backwards, it can really harbor a lot of frustrations, right? So
Yeah.
if you set your goal that I'm never going to use my phone again, let's take it to the extreme example, and then the next day, you reach for your phone out of habit. Right, it's very easy to see yourself as like a
Yeah.
failure, right? Oh, and
Uh,
it breeds the possibility of even just giving up before you get started. But I always like to frame it that everything is a practice, right? And everything is a success. So even if there's a moment where you end up picking up your phone and you have the awareness of, oh, maybe I should put this down, right? I'd count that as a success. You're thinking about it differently, right? Take it slow, take it, methodical, and there's a chart that I usually like to give clients as well when we're doing something very similar. It's called a behavior activation chart. And it's simply just a checklist, right? You write your goal at the top, and then it's just got days of the week and the dates, and you just check off the days that you do them, right? And it's just kind of a visual way of being able to track yourself to say, hey, this week I was able to nail this goal and even surpass it, right? So what was different about that week, right?
Yeah.
This week, maybe I didn't reach my goal. That's okay, right? But it can kind of give you units of measurement to see what's working and what's not working. But to really reinforce what you're talking about, right, you don't have to take it too seriously because it's all a practice, right? So
Mm.
you're going to take some steps forward. You're going to take some steps backward, right? That's just the nature of practice, right? So then it's all about what did you learn in those steps forward and how can we strengthen that rather than get lost in the negative self-talk, as we call it in the biz, of,
Right.
that slight step backwards.
Right, and and that's the thing. I remember I played this game Beat Saber. I played it. I use it as a kind of one. It's fun, but I use it mainly because I see it as a good tool to develop my martial arts skills. Because it's like rhythm is your mind works really fast and it's connected between the left and the right too. Yeah, exactly. And I remember I'm doing a very difficult level, which is like 160 beats per minute. It's really fast. It's like tick, 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 like it's really, really fast. And at first I did really well, and then I did really poorly all of a sudden. And I remember saying to Kayla, I said, why progression isn't just linear? Why can't I just get better straight up all the time? Why does it have to go like this, up and down, up and down, up and down? Can I just be good? Like I already
Mhm.
did this. I did so well at this little difficult part. And then after
Right.
the sixth time where I'm already ahead, now I'm starting failing on the lower level pieces, which I think is something a lot of people can relate to because it's like I did it so well last week. I was
Hmm.
so good at handling this emotional energy. I was so good at handling this. I was not on my phone. I was not obsessed with social media. It didn't heighten my anxiety. And then suddenly you do. And
Hmm.
it's like, oh, I failed. Because progression is not, it's never linear. Never
Not
linear.
linear, right?
It,
Hmm.
which by the way brings me to social media again. So let's talk about social media. Because in social media, what you see, which is really weird. Like I see Facebook, it's a very odd creature because they changed it. I don't know if you noticed, but they did change it a little bit. In the beginning, you used to always see what your friends are doing, like people you follow,
Yep.
etc. Like you see what they're up to. And but now they changed it. So what you see a lot of like ad and groups and things. So your main file,
Hmm.
like when you go on your homepage, it's all just nonsense stuff. And I remember like scrolling through it and I'm saying, I don't know any of these people. Why am I seeing this? These are not people in
Hmm.
my life. This is not something that's connected to me. This is not associated with me in any way. Why am I seeing that? And I'm noticing that they changed it. It's like
Hmm.
a bunch of like groups and things, like an anime thing and this thing and the kung fu AI. I don't know what that is. I'm sure it's like robots watching robots, basically. That's what it is.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
someone used a robot to create a video that is some sort of following whatever trend, and then there's a bunch of bots that people created to watch those same robots and bots. It's robots watching robots. It's pretty ridiculous. And we're in between scrolling like this. It's a very odd world. So back to the friends. So even if you're like you have a proper Facebook and you just seeing your friends, and you see, oh, they're having so much fun, and you have all these social media influencers, like, oh, they have like lovely car, they're in Cabos, and they're in Mexico and the Bahamas. Like we have pictures like we're in the Bahamas doing the Tai Chi and Chico, but guess what? Me and Michael, most of the time, we're doing what we're doing right now. Where you're sitting on a couch doing your work when your computer is not didn't is not exploded.
Yep.
And I'm here working my stuff on my phone, going teaching. Like it's a lot of this. But on
Right.
social media, it's all like it looks like
You're only
people are
getting a
progress.
window. Hmm.
Yeah, you're getting like it looks like everybody's moving forward and everybody's learning. This guy has babies already and they're happily married and this one and they're traveling all the time. What am I doing? And I think I think Jerry Seinfeld made that joke that I really like. He said like I look at these commercials and everybody on the commercials are doing something that is more fun than what I'm doing in the moment. Because I'm just
Hmm.
watching
Hmm.
TV. So I'm just
Yeah.
watching Facebook. Everybody on Facebook is doing something more fun than me right now.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I think you're right.
so
I think you're right. I think it's a, and again, I think it can definitely breed a lot of jealousy, a lot of frustrations, when you're only getting glimpses into people's lives, right? I hear that a lot with clients, like it seems like everybody else around me is
mhm,
improving and advancing and I'm stuck in the same place. And it brings up a really really powerful piece. One of those little therapeutic therapist side comments, that you probably the therapist probably doesn't think like means a lot, but one of those like big things that kick in. It was a story I heard. So this wasn't myself as a therapist. I wasn't the client either, but I had a friend who was telling me about their one of their therapeutic experiences back when they were really yearning for like a long lasting relationship, right? Like,
mhm.
and she had said to the therapist, it's just so frustrating because like everywhere I look around me, I always see these girls with rings on. And the therapist simply just asked her, well, are those rings a reflection of their happiness? And like their happiness within their relationship. And I had heard that, as my friend was telling me this story, and that was something that always kind of stuck with me, right? Because I think it plays into exactly what we're talking about here. You can get a glimpse and you can form your idea of what could potentially actually be going on, but you don't know. I mean, like you said, I think you said it great, right? We go to the Bahamas and we do Tai Chi and Qigong and we take all these awesome videos and we have, like one of the students like take these color contrast awesome photos and then we go home and we sit on the couch and text each
Well,
other like really bad jokes.
even then, remember, remember New York when we did the videos. I think you doing like that cool posture, little tiger posture in front of the Shiva temple, and I'm like doing the like the crane and the
Hmm.
little and the how do you call it the little wood sticks, not sticks,
Oh
like
yeah, yeah,
logs.
yeah, right. Hmm.
And I'm like this and solo, but we took like 20 pictures of that. That was so low. And Michael's like, yeah, that looks cool. And I'm like standing up like, oh, like
Yeah.
another man.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I'm just every day. I like this.
We
I'm
we didn't
flying.
post
Like,
we didn't post the ones of you on the
because we
ground with the
don't post.
collapsed logs and everything like
We should
that.
do that. We should do like this is the camera we chose. This is actually what we were doing. So,
Expectation versus
uh,
reality shots, yeah.
no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to fall into trends. But yes, that's basically the idea. Well, so back to what you're saying, like it's that's what makes it feel like it's a linear progression. Like everybody is like moving forward in their life. Everybody is just nobody's failing from your point of view. But you're like actually experiencing your life from the most intimate and most immersive space. Which
Hmm.
by the way, that's why social media is very attractive because it takes away the immersionness. And as
Right.
spiritual practitioners, we want more immersion. We
Hmm.
want more awareness of what's going on. You want to know your breath. You want to know your heartbeat. You want to know how emotions flow through your body. You want to know how you interact when you're talking to a person. You want to connect with them. You want to feel their energy. You want to go deeper and deeper and deeper, more open, more conscious, more alive. And social media sells you something else. So okay, making it back all the way to our original point because we are called practical spirituality. I think we gave some practical tips, but let's see if we can figure it out in a more practical way, not just little steps like little habits, which are very important. I agree,
Hmm.
but what's something about something more immediate? How can I tell that social media changes my mood because I know it changes my mood. I know that if I listen to a podcast, a political podcast especially, before I go to teach, my teaching is terrible. But if I listen to music, I give a great class. If I'm in, it really depends on my momentum before the class. It will dictate my class.
Hmm.
So how can I tell before it's too late? Right? How can I tell before it's too late that I'm too much on social media? Or how can I be on social media? You know what? We'll answer that, but here's another interesting question. How do I be on social media and be spiritual at the same time? how can I actually practice spirituality through social media? Do a little Aikido trick to that thing that wants to suck me in and take away my consciousness. How do I use it in my favor? How do I do a fast one on Mr. Zuckerberg over there, like saying like, "Hey, you, we're so old. Nobody uses Facebook these days." Anyway,
We're showing our age.
we're doing it. Well, TikTok,
Mhm.
Instagram, Rumble, all these stuff. Like, how do we flip the script? Here,
Well,
let's
I think,
answer that question, and let's answer the
yeah.
question like, how can I tell? Because I think they're
Well,
connected.
yeah, I think they are connected. I think that's exactly it because I think that you put it really well in the sense of when you watch the cat kung fu, right? The cat kung fu videos, right? I think that if you are using social media, but you can even introduce a little bit of mindfulness or awareness of kind of taking in maybe even the sensation of the phone in your hands or recognizing your energy shifting as you're kind of focusing on things, those that moment of clarity you might get, even though it's minuscule. It's something to kind of keep track of. I also love what you had mentioned about noticing how the rest of your day is affected by what you take in prior to that scenario, right? Like that's
The
why
momentum, yeah, the
the momentum,
momentum
yeah,
of
the momentum of things. So I think tracking that is great. And if you want to throw it around and put it back on, the social media giants as it is,
wait,
right?
before you go to that, sorry, I know I'm being a bully.
You're good. Bully
But
it up.
before that, um, because you mentioned, okay, so before we get into that, okay, how do we flip the script? So you said noticing the momentum, which I
Hmm.
love that. I love like notice the momentum of your day. How can I notice it? What am I really noticing? Like,
Hmm.
how do I know I'm more spiritual throughout the day or I'm being less spiritual throughout the day? Social media more or less. How can I tell what is my momentum? Is it a thought? Is it just an understanding? Is it some ether in the air? Is how people interact with me, how they talk to me? How do I feel after I talk to people? Like what is it? Like what is the practical thing, Michael? Give me something that I can name, something that I can say. Aha, that's my momentum. And it's slowing down or it's speeding up. How can I
Hmm.
tell?
Hmm. Well, I can relate it to my own experience, right? So I know that if I listen to, let's say, chanting or something that's enriching, right, on my way to the office, and I show up to the office and I walk out of the car and I walk into the therapy space and I'm just like ready, I am present, I am whole, I am ready to go, right? I am
How do you
just
know?
there.
How do you know that? How do you
For
know
me,
that?
for for me,
How can you
for
recognize it?
for me, it's somatic.
Somatic, yes.
Yes,
Where
yes.
can you tell it in your body?
For me, it's the chest is more open, right? My mind feels a little bit clearer. There isn't so much fog behind the eyes, right? I have a more
Mm,
open and tall posture, right? Like I have that sense of like confidence in the shoulders, right? I'm coming out and I'm feeling just like an overall relaxation in my system, right? I just feel centered, right? It
right.
just feels good, right? But now if I go in and I'm tired and I listen to like some metal music on the way in or something along those lines, and I'm like trying to get myself pumped up, but really it's just, kind of putting me in a different altered state. Like, you can tell that, right? Like, I'm more bracing for the day, right? Rather than kind of being into the day. So that's how I personally measure it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that people will notice. People around your clients and the people around you will notice, but not that much. Like I teach you guys Qigong, and when I am having a momentum in teaching, like I feel like my teachings are manifesting through me.
It's like a flow state.
Yeah, when I'm in that flow state, I can notice it. Like you said, it's a gaze. It's also the way my gaze look, how my eyes work. Like I'm more connecting. I'm not just looking around. I'm not on autopilot. I'm like seeing what you guys are doing. I'm present. It's a soft focus of the eyes. It's not hyperfixation. It's kind of a soft attention to everything going around. It's like being on a lake and you have a little bit of a leaf hitting the lake and you can feel the ripples. You're kind of aware. It's a it's a high awareness, but a soft awareness.
Hmm.
not obsession. And I can feel it through the way I look, and I can feel it in the way I teach. Like I get excited, I get energized. I feel by the end of the class, like, wow, that's good. It's not by the end of it, I leave the class and it's like, oh, I can't wait to like lay down. Now, but the
Hmm.
funny thing is, you guys, you probably notice it on a subconscious level or a somatic level. I'm sure you guys can tell, but nobody ever told me like, oh, you were pretty tired today. One, that we live in a polite society. It's better for better or worse. But I don't think people will notice how you are. That's kind of brings us back to what we're talking about. It's like you don't know what people are struggling with because you don't
Right.
know how subtle their anxiety, because you're getting the end product. You're just seeing
Hmm.
something filtered through a filter. Like you're talking to me, Michael. It goes through your brain and your experiences and your trauma and your life. All 30 plus years are
Hmm.
manifesting through what you're saying and are filtered talking to me. And I take everything you say, I filter it through my own ego and
Hmm.
experiences in 30 plus years of my life.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I translate it. It's a broken telephone right there. And only through actually connecting and removing those like, kind of egotistical obstacles, which is what spirituality does, I can actually connect to Michael,
Right.
which through
Hmm.
social media it's almost impossible, right?
Hmm.
It's like
Hmm.
people
Hmm.
talk to each other on through comment sections. Have you ever been like, I'll admit, I'll raise my hand. I'll admit I found myself arguing with someone on a comment section. And boy, is that a brutal one. It goes
Oh yeah.
nowhere. Nobody was
Hmm.
like, and I did a mistake. I was optimistic. I was writing down, well, this is that and this is that. I got like making points of like, watch this video, you'll see what you think. And they respond, yeah, well, you watch this video. And I'm like, okay, I'll watch your video. I watched
Hmm.
the video, made points, write in the comment. Here's point one that they're making. Da-da-da-da. Here's point two they're making. Here's my response. And I said, okay, what did you think about my video? This is screw you. Screw you. I don't care. What? I put all this energy.
I
What
was
the
gonna say that sounds
hell?
like a lot of energy to win an online comments battle.
I know, because I was young. I was young and foolish. And now I understand. No, not even engaging. It's silly.
Nope.
It's pure
Hmm.
silliness. There's no
Hmm.
point. And it turns and the funny thing is people get it, so it's all turned into a gotcha. It's like, oh,
Yep.
I gave you one, and then nothing. It's just like keep one up each other. And it's a horrible way to communicate, and it creates more egos in front of us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Adds
So
more
I
filters.
can't so I can't really connect with someone through social media like that. However, social media can be a way for me to connect with people that I would never be able to connect with before. Like I've been connecting with people who are following our Tai Chi group and following our martial arts group, people I've never met before. Like, for example, Bo, who comes to our class. The reason he comes and connects is because of social media. People who come to our classes, people I've never met, I just send them a message. Hey, you're part of the group for a while. Have you tried practicing with us? And we talk and I learn a little bit about them and then they show up and then that's an interesting use of social media because it actually helped me connect with someone that
Oh
I
yeah,
wouldn't be able
definitely.
otherwise. I can't like go
Hmm.
on the old phone book, open Mr.
Well,
Bo, call,
I,
hey, do you want to do Tai Chi?
right. Well, I think you bring up an interesting point, and I think to kind of bring it back and not to interrupt too much, but you're right. I think it's a very fine difference between using it as a
Oh,
tool and using it
interrupt,
as an
Michael.
escape.
If you don't interrupt, I'll just keep going and going. I'm counting on you to interrupt me.
I know.
Good.
No, but you're right. It's do you use it as a tool or do you use it as an outlet, right? Because obviously I use it as a tool as well. Advertising my clinical practice, advertising the workshops and the classes that you and I do. It's necessary, especially in a world where, people are more in tune to their phones than maybe they are the TV, right? Used to be back in the day, maybe we could make a commercial, like, hey, we're Shahar and Mike doing our thing, and things
I'm
along those lines.
Shahar.
But and
I'm
I'm
Mike.
Mike.
Together,
Definitely.
he's my yin. I'm his yang. And I'm the like, tackle and grapple, like the big
Exactly.
deal.
Yep, 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 definitely.
But you do that
But
one.
So we do live in a society now
Yeah,
where advertisements are mostly done through the social media platform. And so we do things like you and I are
because
doing
everybody's
today,
there.
right?
That's where
Everybody's
everybody
there.
is.
You
If
go to
everybody
where
were
the
on
people
TV
are,
first,
right?
yeah, it's the new town square, but it's messy. It's a town square
Hmm.
that's filled with commercials and nonsense. It's a very busy, weird time. It's like the New York Times Square, but it's
Hmm.
all the crazies. It feels like you
Yeah,
have
exactly.
80% crazy people and 20% normal people are just trying to get to work. So that's
Hmm.
what it feels sometimes.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm happy that we can be out there. I want to encourage more spiritual people to be on social media and actually do things that add like here, moment to breathe, moment to do something positive. Um, I think I interrupted you there. I think you said something really neat, and I think I cut you short.
Oh no, no, please keep going.
Okay, okay, I'll keep going. So so that brings me to this next thought, which is a neat little trick that I discovered when I'm on Instagram. Instagram is filled with so much nonsense.
Hmm.
It's really the hub of nonsense. And and but I started following a lot of plane companies, specifically those who teach people how to be pilots, pilot companies like instructors, CFIs, that you go through a video and suddenly it's here's how to do the ILS 12 to Virginia, blah 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 blah.
Hmm.
And and that kind of it short circuits my autopilot, pun
Hmm.
pun unintended.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it short circuits my autopilot. It's like, oh, I want to learn more about kind of like maybe I should take the time if I'm on social media. How about I take the time to listen to some briefing, debriefs on
Hmm.
safe flying, or if it's or start following thing like specifically curating my feed. So if I find myself scrolling, I'll be like I see something about Tai Chi, something about Kung Fu, something that shifts my momentum into a different direction. Because sometimes
Hmm.
you have to do this with your brain. You can't stop your brain and go somewhere else.
Right.
Sometimes you have to go come through here and then kind of go do like a Steven
Hmm.
Seagal move.
There you go. A lot of
uh,
Aikido references today. I like that.
I know, I'm into Aikido today. But that's kind of like you're doing like this to it. So so that I found it being very useful. So let's summarize because I know you gotta go soon.
Hmm.
So you wrote in in the chat. You didn't know. You can tell them you gotta wrap it up. You can just straight up tell us. We won't judge you. But that's the thing. I don't want it to be a clean video. I know, like we in a time we'll have like some intros coming in. Well, let's
Yeah,
play it.
sure. I
But
get
if we
that.
find our place sitting with a suit, saying "ready for this," I don't want to be any of that.
Totally.
I like just
We
us
got it. We
just
want this to be
shooting the
authentic.
breeze.
Authentically us. Yes.
Yeah, just shooting the breeze, and I think that it works well. So as long as we do it interesting, which is really the
Hmm.
most important part.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so let's summarize.
Yep.
So spirituality is designed to increase consciousness. It's supposed to open up your awareness to more things, to yourself, to the people around you, the way you connect, teach, work. Social media is specifically designed, and more so as we go through, as you know, all these executives, whatever, in their board meeting decide what is the best way to get engagement. They understand that the way is to kind of create your own echo chamber, what makes you more unconscious. And really, the solution in a world where this is the new Times Square and it's a weird Times Square, one of the best options you can do is really connect to your community. Like, put it aside. Remember, it's not the real world, right? Social media is not the real world. The real world is
Right.
right there around you. It's your community, it's the people. So if you want to know how things are, you have to connect to the real world. Now, we're living in a world that we want to be practical too. So if we are already on social media, there's different ways to do it. Like I like to curate my own feed. So if I find myself stuck in a momentum, there's something that can get me out of it. Or to your suggestion, there's a certain like small little micro habits you can build over time. And we have, of course, the concept of momentum. as we go through the day, we have a certain momentum, and being aware of that momentum through somatic experiencing, understanding of emotions and how things flow through us. If I can tell that the social media is being used as an outlet that drains energy from me, I have a big minus sign above
Mm,
my head, my energy is dropping, then maybe that awareness will help me transition into something that gives me energy, to give me something like a plus sign. So I like, for example, if I have Facebook on, I did that for a while. I really like. I put the live satsangs from the ashrams. Satsang being like the where they
hmm
sit down and have the lectures and the chanting. So I just put it in the background, and I suddenly I have Shivananda yoga energy throughout my house, and that's kind of a cool use of social media if we're gonna flip the script on.
hmm
And so noticing the momentum and changing it and also using it to our advantage. So that's, I
hmm
think that kind of sums up everything. So I'll let you kind of close us off, Michael, like your final thoughts and then close it because I know you got to split soon.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah, so I think Shahar, always again a great time doing this, and I definitely love doing what we're doing, especially in the new town square, But I think you summarized it great. I think again, just to reinforce the fact that if you're looking to make change and move yourself away from these social media platforms, or to just do things differently, to work at your own pace and honor where you are every step of the way, and see anything that you may do differently, either it's a thought or an action or a feeling, count it as a success. Because if we want to redefine our relationships with things and we go too fast or we start too far down the road, right, that can definitely breed grounds for frustration and giving up before you even get started. So take your time and be mindful with the
Uh,
mindfulness.
yeah, that's a episode for next week. We're gonna do that one. I like that one. It's gonna be I'm still workshopping it in my head, but it's gonna be progress versus all or nothing. Like, well, how do we create progress through practice, etc. And how can we tell? Because guess what? It's never linear. It's always like this. It's
Right.
always like that. So we will talk about that. Awesome. But thank you, Michael. I know you gotta
Cool.
go. So
Thank you,
how about you?
Shahar.
And also, you gotta show me how your camera does this thing when it goes forward and back. It zooms in and out on your face.
Yeah,
It kind of
it's
makes
like
you
a
very dramatic. I like it. You say
yeah.
something and then
Well,
it zooms in. I
it
kind of
zooms
like
in
that.
and it zooms out. Yeah. Well,
That's
it's
pretty
because my
neat.
laptop is broken, like I said. So I'm doing this all on my iPad today, and I think it's got like some centering feature or something. I don't
I
know,
like
but hey.
it. I kind of
Hmm
like it. I feel it makes you. It's like a episode of The Office. I like it.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
All right. See you, Mr. Mike.
Okay.
Good
All
to see
right,
you.
everybody. Take care. Thanks again, and we will see you next week.
We need a catchphrase, but next week we'll have a catchphrase. Yeah.